Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it you have fun because it's
Right.
I'm so excited you're going.
If you're not,
Yeah.
yes, everybody else good. Okay, so it's from it's the award ceremony is, yeah.
I'm
So what are the
excited.
parties?
Yeah. You know what I mean? But-
Last year, when we were doing Vegas.
I wasn't.
Yeah, it's KWRIO region party. It's like a big group, you in Vegas.
Yeah, jeans.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure to stick it by AW.
Right, yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Right, right.
What was she using?
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Drew.
Thank you.
Dave, you gonna stay and hang out with me? Whatever opportunities. Opportunities in command.
Listening to it.
Oh, there you go.
I do actually slide those over.
There you go. Do you use the checklist in there?
You asked me if I was saying.
Yeah.
Check.
I pick on him. That's why I pick on him.
I mean, we all hate them. Here's a question for you. Do we still have KWLS? Was that?
No,
Ah,
it's
that
gone.
on the checklist?
Oh,
Now, this morning, as a matter of fact, my checklist.
Mhm.
Thing that I had. And I was checking off and entered into MLS and KWLS, and I went, wait a minute, 'cause I tried it.
Nope.
A few months ago on the listing, I was looking for KWLS.
so it has integrated with when you fill out your commissions.
Yeah.
So because you have to select the KWLS listing from there. So they put it within command. So now there's not two separate programs.
In there, some of my
Uh-huh.
things, I don't know if they. In there, 'cause I didn't do anything with the commissions until we're at closing,
Oh, gotcha.
and then, Lynn Marshall.
Does all this stuff for you. Yeah.
Yeah, so,
And she's probably just taking care of it and you don't even know.
Yeah.
There you go. Problem
I
solved.
know, check through that. box.
That's right. You don't have to close it out or anything anymore.
Just take stuff, slide it over. I've still got one that I can't get out of it. I mean, it's closed,
Hmm.
but they don't stay there forever, do they?
They drop every 30 days. At the end of the month,
Alright.
everything that's in there drops.
See, I'm learning.
See?
I-
Yeah. Yeah. You don't have to. I was just picking on you, but you can if you want.
I know I need to attend it more often, but that one, I do use that. I
Yeah.
do slide my people over there.
Well, good.
And then I know it gives you like X% of the,
Yep. And you can change the names of these.
no.
Yep.
You could do that.
Yep. And you can create checklists
Well,
within it.
now, can you change the generic checklist?
What do you
So
mean?
for example, I had, a new listing.
Hmm.
And I'm looking at the checklist and that's the one that said, KWLS.
Gotcha.
Go put it in MLS, KWLS. I'm like.
Where are you pulling that checklist from? Is it in
the front
command
page.
from the main page?
Yeah. Like my checklist right there. Well, no, I'm not pulling
Oh.
checks, but I'm looking over here,
Oh,
it says,
for like your tasks?
yeah, so.
Okay, so you might have or have like the defaulted ones or something. But
Yeah,
these are
okay.
these are the checklists and you can manipulate those as well.
Oh, here it is. Like schedule an open house.
Oh.
That's land, so I just click that.
Yeah, oh yeah. So those are all your tasks and stuff. Yeah.
Earlier today, I had put it in KWLS.
Mhm.
But can I take those tasks and eliminate that one?
Yeah,
Where-
depending on how you set them up. All right, so go to your opportunities tab real quick. I'll just see what you've done. All right, click on, I guess it'd probably be under the active tab, right? Is where it would be. So you have your stages and checklists there. And then you have 7 items in that check. Click on that, or you might have to click on edit. See if it'll show you. Click close real quick. Maybe you do have to click on that. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
I keep changing stuff, but there you go.
Then I can just go edit maybe. Okay,
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. So this is where your main screen so that you can change for all of them. And and then any new opportunity you create will use this new list.
You know, what's funny is, do you have something like create tour factory presentation?
No, not like that.
I have tour factory and I had it when I was here at KW before, so I wonder if I did that.
You must have, because that's not what we have. So like this one I have, see, my tabs are even different. I have due diligence period, prep for closing day, but these I have them set for like, these are admin duties and these are agent duties. So I've created these specific for how we handle our listings and how we handle our buyers and stuff. So it looks like you created this a while back. You probably just forgot about it. But yeah, yep, you can edit them there. Yep, no problem. All right. I don't even have anybody online, so it's Joanne. Okay, Joanne's coming back.
Hi, Steve, can I help?
All right. We'll get started. I am going over opportunities today and just some different things that people don't realize that the opportunities tabs offers. First things first, when you log into Command over on the left-hand side, you'll see a bunch of icons. If you click on the red square at the top, it'll actually open and tell you the name of all the tabs so that you don't have to try and remember what the icons are. But opportunities is always going to be the hand-holding one since that is our transactions. All right, so once you get in here, obviously you can create your opportunities straight from here. Opportunities meaning your transactions. Or you can create the opportunity from the actual contact itself. And they do exactly the same things. But in order to have an opportunity, you must have a contact put in. Okay, so that is step one. All right, so yeah,
Where is that red button?
sure, very top left, that big KW.
Okay.
Yep. No. And that's why I have to tell people, because they don't realize it. Everybody expects to just remember what the icons are. And that definitely takes time for sure. All right, so now that we are in our opportunities, mine, just keep in mind, looks a little bit different because I have a team that I run. So you won't have this first tab, you'll just have your name and then all opportunities. The all opportunities button is a list view of all of your opportunities that you've created. Sometimes people prefer this way because you can actually search by either the address, the name of the opportunity, or who the contact is. So you do have those options there to find your opportunity versus trying to remember which section it might be in. So just so that you have a couple of ideas of how you can find things. Now, I want to show you these grids here. Obviously, green is for listings, orange or red, I think it's more orange, for buyers, and then you have purple for leases. No one should be doing leases right now unless that's specifically what you're targeting. You should just only be focusing on listings and buyers at the moment. But even when I first started, I was talking to Dave about checklists. So these are called phases. You have your cultivate, appointment, active, under contract, and closed for both your listings and buyers. Cultivating is starting with your contact, right? You should be starting an opportunity every time you put a new contact in. You don't have to, but the reason for that is you can go ahead and start your checklist. Okay. So for listings, cultivating is obviously someone's called you and they're going to want to sell their house at some point. Okay, may not be today, it may not be in 3 months, but at some point they are going to want to do that. All right, and then so I have renamed my stages. I think yours starts out, it defaults to like hot. I can't remember what they are, but they have different names. So it's up to you whether you want to keep what it defaults to. This is your business. You can run it how you want. Sure, yes. So if you go back here and you click on cultivate or appointment or active, whichever one, I clicked on listing cultivate specifically. And I think it says here, where mine says 12 months out, I think it says like hot and nurture or something like that. Those are the three. I adjusted them for what works for us, right? And each of these stages has a checklist that I've also created. Okay. Again, you can create these checklists. And the reason why I'm telling you all of this is because the more you do right now, the more it's going to help you save time later and make sure that you don't skip any steps. Now, granted, also, a lot of you guys are new, so you don't know what the steps are. So the office does offer checklists, basic checklists for you that you can follow. So if nothing else, you can use those as a jumping off point. And those checklists are at the kwbresources.com website. You can pull them from there, or if you're in a transaction group, you might have access to theirs as well. But you can utilize those to kind of work this out. You can also have as many stages as you want. I just have 3 here, but you can have 10 if you want. I actually found out last week that another agent out here, an independent agent, he has, I don't, maybe 15 stages or whatever under one tab because he separates like his South Carolina from his North Carolina, his coming soons from his active listing, stuff like that. And you can do that. So for instance, say this one was North Carolina and this one was South Carolina, and he had a South Carolina deal, he would move this straight to South Carolina and skip over the North Carolina stage. And that's what he wants to do. So there's different ways that you can manipulate this and make it work for you if that's what you want to do. So to change the stages and the checklist, edit them, move them around, whatever you want to do, this is where you're going to do it. So under cultivate, you'll click on stages and checklist. If you're under appointment, you'll click on stages and checklist, and you'll do that for each one. Okay. So as you can see, you can change the stage name here to whatever you want it to be, and then you can edit your checklists here. You can move them, whatever. But this is how you would go about doing that. This email update button, just so that you know, means once you check that this specific task is completed, it sends your client an email. We don't want to do that because we have so many checklists for us because we are so specific. We would be sending our clients way too many emails. So, but you can, if that's how you want to run your business, you do have that option. I will say this too, just a little caveat. If you do want copies of my checklist that I use for the team, I am happy to share those with you. Just send me an email. Okay. My email is Jenna, Jenna, at soldbykennedy.com. And I'm happy to share what we have, just so you can get an idea and decide what you want to incorporate or not. Again, everybody runs their business different. There's no right or wrong to this. There's nothing wrong with keeping the stages that are provided to you. They are generic because that applies to people in California too, where they actually have what's called escrow versus our terminology, which is under contract. So the verbiage might be a little bit different and confusing, but it's really how you want it to work and how you want this to work for you. Okay. Another one I'll just show you is under active tab for listings. I have a coming soon from exclusive tab. I have a listing is live tab, and then I have one that we've accepted an offer. Okay. And these checklists are a bit more detailed because when you're putting a listing in, there's a lot more steps that need to be done versus when you're cultivating. Okay. So I have those here. All right, so while I'm here, I'm just going to go ahead and pull up the test one that I have created. So when you first click on your opportunity, on the left-hand side, there's a panel. This is the contact information, the basic information for your opportunity. And this should already pretty much be filled in when you created your opportunity, but you still can adjust those if need be. Keep in mind when it says estimated commission rate, it is the commission rate that's going to be coming to Keller Williams. It's not the total commission. So Jesus, is it? Okay. For a listing, obviously the commission would be 6%, 7%, whatever you guys charge is the total, but that's not what it's asking for.
Does that?
The-
Like, if you think this was gonna be, then and you approve.
Go to your listing. Yeah. Yeah. These can be changed at any time. Yeah. It'll even ask you again when you go to fill out your commission request, verify that this is what you ended up with. Because yes, once you even go under contract, your commission could change during negotiations depending on what you guys do. So yes, it can be changed at any point. Just a lot of people put the full 6% here when you're actually only getting 3%. So, but that's the reason for that. But you can collapse this panel so it's not taking up so much space. That way you have a bigger view of this, which comes in handy when we do our documents. But I want to kind of come over here and just show you a little bit of what you can do here as well. A lot of people skip this stuff, and that's fine. This is not something that you have to do, but I don't think people realize the benefit of filling some of this stuff out. So when you have your key dates over here, keep in mind the appointment scheduled, appointment date, agreement 1. These are very important to track your turnover. Okay. Under the reports tab, which is over here, when you're putting these dates in, it will let you know how much time from the time that you schedule your appointment to the time you actually go on your appointment to the time that you actually have your agreement signed, whether it's a listing or a buyer agency agreement. It will track that timing for you so you can kind of get an idea, hey, I need to pick up the pace here, or I need to, give them more time, but whatever that is. But it's nice for tracking long term if that's something that interests you and can kind of guide you to where you may need improvement. Okay. And where you are excelling. Okay. Also over here is the opportunity name. So that is what's going to show up here up in the top. This is also what you can search by and all that kind of stuff. Again, it defaults to whoever your first client is. So if it's a listing, it would be John Smith if he's the first one that you put in, right? And then it will say dash listing. That's what it defaults to. And for the buyer, it'd be the same thing. It would be John Smith if he was the first one, dash buyer. Absolutely. You can change it at any time you want. And I highly suggest you do that because think about this. What if John Smith becomes a multiple client for you? Okay. They want to buy and sell multiple times over the years and all of their opportunities say the same thing. How confusing is that going to be? Okay. So here's what we do as an example. You guys can do whatever you want, but I always do all of the clients' names. So as you can see here, I have my first seller as Test, okay? And then Jenna Test is my second. So if it's, I'll just use me and my boyfriend, right? So I have Eric Laney, Jenna Kelly. So I would do Eric Laney and Jenna Kelly. And if we had the same last name, I would do Eric and Jenna Laney. Sure, you just click on it. So anything that has this like bluish color is editable. Okay, I guess this is like a teal color, maybe. I'm not sure. But yeah, if you hover over it, you'll see the little pencil and then you can easily change it right there. And then for listings, I always do dash, as you can see, 123 Main Street, right? Because if they have multiple properties, say you have an investor, right? Okay, so that's why I do the dash 123 Main. For buyers, obviously when you're starting your opportunity, you don't know what the address is. So I still do the same for the name. So I would do Eric and Jenna Laney, right? And it defaults to dash buyer. And I keep that there until we go under contract. And when I go under contract is when I change it to whatever the address is that they went under contract for. Yes. No, you're fine. Go ahead.
Buyer that I originally started, his wife's name, because that was the first email I got.
Mm-hmm. And that's fine.
Later, but during the whole time, I never could get his address to come up when I had to.
Right. So that's a DocuSign thing. But, and that's fine. That's fine. When, because that does happen, right? You find out, oh, they actually are married, or they need to add their dad onto it because he's going to be a co-signer, whatever that situation is. Yes, after the fact, it doesn't always default to put that information in for you. But the first thing that I would tell you is make sure that you do add them to the opportunity and in command. And then when you get into DocuSign, because if you start DocuSign before you add that person, DocuSign doesn't carry it over. I don't know why. Right. So when you go into DocuSign, DocuSign also has a details tab, right? It defaults when you go into DocuSign, it goes to the documents section in DocuSign. But if you click over to details, add the email there, and then it will be in there forever. And you won't have to add it every time. Okay. If I have time, I'll show you at the end what that looks like. But that's where you would add that. And that would be also if you needed to change their email in DocuSign, you would do it in the details tab, right? Oh, please now email me at my work email, not my personal one or whatever, because that happens. That's where you would change it so that you don't have to do it every single time you send something out. Okay. All right. And then you have also here the ability, I'm not going to say opportunity, that's going to get confusing. You have the ability to add tags. I do suggest doing this, especially if you have multiple deals going at one time. We have tabs, for instance, if it's a land deal, we have a tab if it's a referral. I have tabs for each agent. I'm saying tabs, I mean tags for each agent on my team as well, so I can keep this a little organized on my end. But I also have tags saying that my listing has been approved, my under contract has been approved. Okay. This is so that I know that I have all the paperwork in there and I don't have to keep opening this file to see what I'm missing. And I'll show you what that looks like. I'm going to go back here. As you can see, I have listing approved here on this one. And what this is showing, if you go in here to your documents, my listing section has been approved, which means I don't have to go back and I'm not missing a CMA. I'm not missing measurements. I'm not missing anything like that. Carla has approved this. I'm good to go. I don't need to do anything else with this file until we get an offer. Okay. And this is all for compliance. But that's why I have those tabs here. As you can see, I have referral, different agents' names, all kinds of stuff. So you have the ability to add different tags here if you want. And if you do want to create tags, you just need to come up here and click on your name and go to settings, and that's where you create the tags. Same with contacts. If you want to add a contact tag, that's where you would do it under your settings tab. Okay. I'm not going to dive in that right now, but I can do that a little bit later if you want me to. All right, also under general information, this is where you can move it from one phase to another. So if you're already here, instead of going back to where you have the squares or business cards is what people like to call them, you can actually change the stages directly right here if you need to. Okay. All right, I'm going to go back to my test one because I don't want to mess up his stuff. All right, so once you have everything filled out here that you want to have filled out here, okay, we're going to go to documents. So when you start a new opportunity, you do not have a checklist filled out. This is actually blank, okay? So you do have to pick which compliance checklist you need, right? So if you're doing a South Carolina listing, you need the first one. If you're doing a North Carolina listing, you need the second one. If you're doing a referral, this is the checklist you need. If you're doing North Carolina land, South Carolina land, North Carolina, South Carolina commercial. Obviously, the compliance lists for these are going to be different, so just make sure that you do pick the correct one. Okay. If you have somebody who's looking in both North and South Carolina, obviously that doesn't apply to the listing side, but it does apply to the buyer side. Always default to North Carolina. And then if they do decide to purchase in South Carolina at a later date, at that point, when you're writing that offer is when you can change it over to South Carolina. Okay. The reason for that is the North Carolina paperwork is a lot more detailed. It covers a lot more. It protects you a little bit more, protects them a little bit more. So that's why my rule of thumb is default to North Carolina paperwork. That way you don't have to have them fill out both. But if they do decide to put in an offer on a South Carolina property, have them fill out the buyer paperwork for South Carolina at the time you're writing that offer. Okay, you're still covered because you do already have the North Carolina paperwork filled out. Okay. But anyway, this is where you pick the correct checklist. And what this does, it actually dumps in the paperwork that you need for each stage that your listing is in. Okay. So each tab here has a different list. All right. I will tell you that when you get to this point, always click on this button, this requirement button. What it's going to do is pull the required forms to the top of the list. Okay. The conditional forms and the optional forms will go down to the bottom. The reason for this is these are the forms that you have to have, regardless of what your situation is. These are the forms you're going to have, whether you're doing coming soon, whether you're doing firm exclusive, whether, anything else. These are the forms that you have to have. So if for nothing else, start here, make sure you get all of this stuff taken care of. And then if you do end up needing something conditional or optional, you can handle that in a little bit if you need to. For instance, not all listings need that lead-based paint form, right? You only need those if those are older homes, right? So that would be a conditional form. Okay, it is required, but only for those houses that are that old, right? And on the buyer side, the FHA VA addendum, that's also conditional because if your buyer is going FHA or VA, they do need that addendum, right? So those are just some, suggestions on the best way to handle that. But yeah, if you put the required form requirement button up here and moves them all to the top, you can prioritize what forms you get done. Okay. All right. So over here, you'll see the drop down. It might not actually show up if you haven't clicked onto the DocuSign form button. But once you open your DocuSign form for that paperwork stuff, this list will apply. But you can upload your documents straight from DocuSign. If they were done in DocuSign, they would show up on this drop down. And I'll go to one in just a minute so you can actually see what I'm talking about. But you can also upload them manually, meaning like if you have a PDF saved on your desktop, right? Because sometimes it comes from the opposite client. So like if you're representing the seller, you need the one that's signed by the buyer. So you have to wait for the buyer to sign it before you get it. So that means it's coming to you as a PDF form. That form would not necessarily be in DocuSign, right? So you can upload it straight from here. You can click here and just pull it from your computer. You can also drag it. Okay. That's how you put paperwork in there. And then once you have the majority of the documents in here, I would hit submit. If you only have one document in here, do not submit this every single time after one document. Carla will it'll drive her crazy. Okay. So if you have, even if you don't have all of them, that's fine. Sometimes you're waiting for your seller to fill out that property disclosure and it's just taking them forever to figure out what kind of pipes they have in their house, right? So you can still go ahead and submit this missing that one thing. It'll get kicked back saying you're missing this, right? But at least you have everything else filled out, right? And you'll know if oh my gosh, I forgot to put a date in on the listing agreement or something like that. It'll get kicked back to you so that when you do go pick up that property disclosure paperwork, you can say, hey, we forgot to do this. I have this information now. I know that I missed this. I need you to go ahead and sign it. That way you could just get it taken care of when you go back to pick up that one form that you're missing.
It's back.
Uh-huh.
Why you're correct.
Uh-huh.
And once you, I forgot what the form it is, but once you do that correction, will it automatically resubmit?
No.
Oh.
No. Correct. Yes, you have to. This would now say once you've excuse me, this has been submitted. It will highlight again so that you can hit the resubmit button.
Those as they come in. If you don't have a lot, just go ahead and submit it.
Yeah, I mean, case by case, just be smart about it. If you've got 4 things that are wrong, wait till you get those 4 things fixed before you submit it, right? But also keep in mind, you don't want to wait to the last minute either, right? You want to, as best you can, is have as much of that done, 3 or 4 days before your closing date. Okay. And Joey, that does bring up a good point. Let me go back to one where I'm missing some stuff so you can kind of see what that looks like. Let me collapse that. All right, so you can see that my buyer paperwork was approved, but my under contract has been returned, okay? So when that happens, just scroll down here and see where your red mark is. I'm missing the receipt for the earnest money from the closing attorney. So as soon as I have that, I'll put that in there and then I'll hit the resubmit button because that's the last thing that's missing. Well, and the professional service disclosure, I need that too. Okay. And then, what was that other one? Oh, I remember. Hold on. I got another one where I need to fix something on the compensation form. It's this one. Sorry, I know I'm doing a lot of clicking, but I just wanted to kind of show you. So this one, see, it says returned. Okay. And if you hover right here, it tells you what's missing. So they forgot to put the expiration date, or they put the wrong expiration date on the compensation form. So I need to get this fixed. Okay. So yeah, if you hover over here, it tells you what's messed up. She doesn't just hit return and then you got to try and figure it out. Okay. It actually tells you what needs to be fixed. And she gets very specific. Like if something's messed up on like the buyer agency or the listing agreement, she says page 3, number 6, letter H, she gets very specific and tells you what exactly needs to be fixed. Yeah. Yeah. She's psycho like me and loves papers. So we get along great. All right. And I also want to just mention, getting your stuff kicked back, it's not the end of the world. It happens all the time. There's no way that you're going to get your paperwork perfect every single time. That's a very, very far reach. Okay. So just know when you get that notification, you're like, okay, I need to correct this. That's all it is, right? It takes a long time to learn every single paper and the right way to do it. And then by the time you figure that out, they change it. Okay. So we're all in the same boat. Nobody's perfect here. So I love, and she's very quick on it too. She gets back pretty quickly when she checks your stuff. Yeah. Sometimes it's just 2 minutes after you submit it. So that's another great thing because then you can stay on top of your paperwork very quickly, right? And there's no delays in you getting paid. Okay. Because all 3 of these have to be green in order for you to get your paycheck. All right. So I'm going to do DocuSign next week. Okay. So I'm not going to dive in that today, but this is where you access it. And just make sure that when you are starting your paperwork for the very first time for your particular opportunity, start by clicking this button. It'll say, I think it says start a transaction, or start or something like that. I can't remember the exact words, but do it from here because that's how it links Command to DocuSign. Okay. If you go to just DocuSign.com and log in and start a room there, it does not sync with Command, meaning all of your contact information doesn't pull over, all of your information doesn't necessarily pull over correctly. So this is where you need to start it so that you have the right paperwork, you have the right information, and you're not making more work for yourself.
On the DocuSign form,
Ah.
it doesn't go there.
It doesn't go to DocuSign?
It doesn't, so I was going to, have that transaction, yeah. But
It's okay.
here, working with the one person,
Mm-hmm.
I was going to the DocuSign page and doing it, somebody said that.
Which, I mean, you can, it just makes more work for you because you've got to start fresh. But I'm wondering if your DocuSign just is not connected in your command for some reason, or the information isn't the same. Click on in the top right of commands, click on your name and then click on settings. Let me just look at it real quick. Okay, so your DocuSign is connected with that email.
Okay.
Okay, so, go back to the opportunity that you were just talking about. Okay, that's fine. And then you're gonna click on the Documents tab. Yep. Go ahead and collapse your panel right here. So we're under Jane Doe. That way you can see a little bit more. Okay, go to DocuSign Room. Let's see what happens. Okay, you might have your pop-up window disabled. Okay, I know some people do that too because nothing's actually happening. Unfortunately, I don't know anything about Macs. So I'm not sure how to fix that on yours. But I am 99% sure that's the problem, that it's not allowing you to open a new window for that DocuSign. So if you can figure that out, you'll be set. No problem. No problem. Yeah, I'm definitely not a Mac girl. Yes, no problem at all. At least yours is a simple fix. Simple fix. Yeah, you're fine.
If, I do it,
Mhm.
I start
Uh-huh.
my.
Okay.
That form is on there, 7:30, something like that.
Mhm.
So I sent that, then, I noticed that there's a referral section, saying my referrals. Do I go ahead and fill that out? Is that separate or?
Are you talking about the tab on the left-hand side? No, you don't have to do that. No, you can. It's a way that Keller Williams agents can track their referrals between the two of them. Sure.
They say, hey, part of it, I have to then work that.
And that's fine. A lot of people do that because they just want to connect with you through the referral network of Keller Williams, which is great. And you can absolutely accept it. But that doesn't mean that anything's going to happen. They're just, if they end up getting a Charlotte one and you've connected with them, they would probably communicate with you whenever they did have a Charlotte referral, right? And vice versa, right? If you had one for whatever their territory was, they would probably be your go-to because you're already connected with them. But yeah. No, if you have a referral, you would just use the referral tab here. Okay, and it will tell you what paperwork you need, which is the referral. You need a W-9. The W-9 form. So if you are paying someone else, yeah. So if you're paying someone else for a referral, right? It's closed and the office here needs to write them a check. You have to have their tax information. Yep. 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 And then if you're sending yours out, you need to send them the Keller Williams W-9 so that they can pay you, which that's also on the KWB resources page. You can pull it straight from there. Okay. Because Lynn has to sign it and she's already put one on there that's already signed. So you just grab that one. These are great questions though. All right. Oh, I also wanted to mention too, there is an option here to add a custom folder. The way I utilize this is for anything that's important to this transaction, but I don't need it for compliance, which would be home inspection reports. That's extremely important for transactions. If you get a copy of an appraisal, pre-approval letters, invoices, anything like that, I do suggest I just create a miscellaneous folder, just one folder. These terminated ones are ones that Carla created, but the miscellaneous is what I create, and that's where I put any information that's important to this transaction, but is not needed for compliance, right? For compliance is usually something that needs signatures, right? An inspection report doesn't need signatures, but it's highly important to that transaction. Okay, so that's what I utilize that for. And you can make multiple folders for different reasons. I just make one and just dump everything in there. I just make sure that I label them correctly so I know what they are. This will also be very helpful for you later on. You know, you get clients calling you 2 years after something's closed and they need a copy of the inspection report that they had. how long would it take you to search your freaking email to find it, right? However, you could just go into command, pull it real quick because you know exactly where it is because that's where you always put your inspections. Yes, ma'am.
I just Googled how to.
Uh-huh.
So when you click on it, is it automatically supposed to go to this?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
we're good.
And then you log in with your credential. Yes. Yes, ma'am. You're set. You got it now. Uh-huh. Yep. I'm glad it was something very simple. All right. Any questions about compliance, how to submit paperwork, anything like that? All right. So now I want to go to the offers and commissions page. I'm going to go back to my test one real quick, so that I'm not messing up somebody else's. All right. Yes, ma'am. Oh, yeah, yeah. No, you're good. You're good. You're good. All right. So offers and commissions. So you can submit this anytime you want to. Okay. You do not have to wait till closing day. You don't have to wait till the day before closing. You don't have to do anything. You can submit this whenever you want. I do these when we go under contract. As long as I have all the information that I need, I go ahead and submit it, right? And usually when you go under contract, you have everything that you need. Okay. For instance, if you are paying out a referral, make sure you have that W-9 because you have to have that in order to put it in for your commissions because it's something that does affect how you get paid. Okay. So I'm going to go through this and just kind of show you how this works. As you can see, I already put some in here for testing at other classes or whatever. But you're going to do add new offer, okay? Each time. You're going to verify the property address. It should already be here because you put it in already, okay? If it's not, find it. And how you would find it, you just click on select from KWLS, which is Keller Williams version of MLS, which anything that is put into the MLS does get syndicated to the KWMLS, okay? So all of them should be in here if they're done correctly, okay? Make sure that you change this drop down. I don't like that it defaults to only my listings because you'll get confused if you try to search for something where you represent the buyer, right? So just make sure you change this to say all listings. And then you literally are going to just type in the address. Okay. Oh, sure. Yeah. So, oh, this thing's covering the thing up. So when you're at the create new offer, you'll hit select from KWLS and it brings you to the screen. Ignore all this because this is just because I've already messed with it, but just make sure you change this to all listings so you see everything. Okay. And then you're just going to type in the information. So this is one that we're under contract on. I do. Yeah. I know some people that wait until they have like the closing disclosure or whatever. But you don't have to. Have you closed on anything yet? Yeah. No. Did you get paid? Hmm. Then you must have done it at some point. But anyway, so this is yeah. So this is where you would come and then you would select the one that applies to you. Keep in mind, it's obviously some of these houses have been listed multiple times, right? So just make sure you're picking the right one. You can tell who the listing agent is. Okay. I'm not dealing with a Jennifer, so it's not that one. It's not Thomas Elrod's. So you just have to find the right one that applies to you. Here's the one that we're doing right here. I'm not going to select it because that's for something else. I don't want to mess it up, but make sure that you are finding the correct one. Okay. And then you're just going to hit select. Okay. And I'll bring you right back here. And then you just answer the questions. Okay. Is it residential? Is it a resale? Is it a new home? It should default to you if you're on a team. There might be more than one option, but here you put your buyer's name if you represent the buyer. Okay. Seller's name if you represent the seller, right? So just fill that out. And the sales price. All right, so here you'll see it says finance amount and it says cash. You're either financing or you're either paying cash for this purposes. There's some people that are paying half cash, half financing, right? That doesn't matter for this, okay? If they're paying cash, you put the full amount here, you put the 118,950 here. Okay. If they're financing at all, then leave this 0 so that the finance amount. I do not expect anybody to do math. That is not our job. Okay. So don't try and figure out how much money they're putting down, what percentage they're doing of the down payment assistance, blah, blah. That does not matter for this. Okay. If they're paying full cash, write the amount there. If they're financing any bit of it, just put it all under finance. Okay. Don't waste your time doing math. You don't have to. Okay. Earnest money amount. We don't usually do percentage. We just do a flat fee. So you can put that in there. And then your commission rate. This is again where you can double check that you're getting the right percentage here. Nothing changed. Okay. Change it there. It will do the math for you to create the commission amount. And then you'll need your close date. These dates are usually already put in there anyway. And then you just hit create and accept offer or hit create offer. Either one. I'm gonna go back. Oh shoot, I hit the wrong button. All right, and so once you've created it, this is what it's gonna look like. Okay. They have it set up this way too. If you have multiple offers, you have the ability of putting all those offers in here and then sending it to your client so that they have a brief overview of these different offers so they can, check it and see which one they want. Obviously, Keller Williams has their own version of that. The office has their own version of that as well. Doesn't matter, whatever works for you, however you want to do it. If you want to create your own spreadsheet and give them, I wish everybody had the problem of having multiple offers. That's how it was during COVID. It was insane. But that is how you can do that. You can put in multiple offers. But once you have your information in there, you would just hit accept. Oh, this is the problem I had last time. That's okay. We're just going to go to one I've already done. Okay. So you can see it. All right. So this is what the page is going to look like. All right. The cool thing is it'll tell you the breakdown of your payments, how much you need to pay into the office, your royalty, all that kind of stuff. This actually does the calculations for you. Okay. So it has all this information here. If you had a referral that you were paying out, there would be a button right here that says add outside referral. It's not letting me do it because she's already approved this commission one, but there would be a button here where you would add it there. Okay. And then if you're sharing, our team splits are here, but it would just be you here and it would give your full amount over here of how much your check is gonna be. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. It'll be in here forever. But I love that they make this very simple, straightforward how to fill it out. It will kick it back if you forgot to do something. And even if you do submit it to Lynn and you realize after the fact something's messed up, just shoot her an email. She'll fix it on her end. It's not a big deal. Yes. Yep. Let me see if I can remember where that is. I don't think it's there. I think it's under my profile. Yeah, no problem. Trying to remember where it is. There you go. Okay, so you go to your picture and then you go to setting or my profile and then click on Valentine area. And then click on Valentine area. It's all the way at the bottom on the left-hand side. And then that has your company dollar, your royalty, all that information is in there. How much you've paid into like KW Cares, all that stuff's in there. There you go. Yeah. Yep, mine profile, and then click on Valentine area. Yep. And then right there it tells you where you're at. It should be at the top. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so royalties at 3%. Yeah. Yeah. When does yours reset? When do you reset? That's your anniversary, so you would reset May. So you'll have till the end of April, and then May 1st is when it goes back to 0. Yeah. Yeah. Yep, yep. That's pretty much everything that I wanted to go over today. Sure, yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Oh,
I back as 6 months, I just break apart.
okay.
But at the same time, I was doing closing, that was really quick, and so I was able to keep up with it, but I had a list of questions. And I can't think of it offhand, but I'll bring them the next.
Okay.
They're just little silly things that I run across and just, I can't think what they are.
Oh, that's all right. Yeah, bring them.
Me as well as maneuver. I have a problem maneuvering and the system going back to.
Where to go, yeah. I mean, to be honest, all that you have to do, there's a lot that you can do, right? What you have to do is in your document section and then the commissions. Anything else for a transaction, you really don't have to do anything. So if you just want to do the bare minimums, do those two. Okay. And then, you can add on the other stuff later.
Yeah, like.
Yeah. And you had a DocuSign question though about emails not showing up. Come on, computer. You're going too slow.
I went back to that one just to save. I wanted to let it close, but it's not letting me go back. Change.
That's okay. I'll let me get in here.
So you keep track of this routine. Like with him.
Yeah, pretty much I drop everything. Fell out of my pocket. There's nobody online anyway. Pretty much the agents on my team. Right. Pretty much do everything else. But they also sometimes have to do the buyer paperwork or whatever if it's, when I'm not available. But yeah. Okay, so there's the details section right here in DocuSign.
Yeah.
You just hit edit. And then if it's a seller, you just put the email here. The buyers are all the way at the bottom.
Okay, so where do I add like a husband wife?
Sure. So you'll see here, it's the seller, you have seller 1. So that's where that information, then it goes to seller 2.
All right.
Okay. And then it has the listing agent's information. And then it does the same thing for the buyer. You got buyer 1 and buyer 2. And that's where you'd add it in.
What's the buyer?
No. So if you put it in command before you start your opportunity, or before you start your DocuSign,
Yeah.
it will pull over and you don't have to put it in DocuSign.
But then after that, it's.
Right. So if you start your DocuSign room,
Yeah.
and then you add somebody in command to that opportunity, a lot of times you'll have to add them manually.
So,
Mhm.
so weird.
Yeah.
I thought.
and now that I'm not recording that, DocuSign's going away. So don't worry about it if you're not. Okay, great. Do not try and be an expert right now because you're going to learn something new. And it's because so many people are having problems with it and it's taking too long for people to get it because there is a lot of steps. I get that. The only reason I know it is because I do it every single day, multiple times.
Right.
But most people don't.
Yeah, but you're answering the question that if I was a new agent, I would have had no idea. And I
Exactly.
Some of the original classes, I was lost. I remember like 2 or 3 clicks.
Yeah.
Are they gonna replace it?
Yeah, there's a new program coming out. So I think they're gonna try and launch it second quarter this year. But I don't know when the beta testing for that's gonna start. I did the beta testing for Command and DocuSign when it was being rolled out, so I'm hoping I can get on that for this new one, so.
Appreciate all your help. You're so smart.
Yeah, no problem.
And I know you talked about it. Teaching. Do that. Oh, so that, I remember I had where I had a listing that I changed I got a new